Oh, you're ready.
Yeah. I started the video.
What's up, y'all?
Do your part.
You gotta talk like me. I gotta talk like you.
No.
What's up, y'all? I'm Mike Spencer, your Black cultural tastemaker.
Talk regular.
At least try it. You gotta try it. What's up? I'm Mike Spencer, your Black cultural tastemaker.
What's going on, everybody? It's your girl, D. Jasmine Orlandis, and don't forget the D, because there's only one me.
And we are
the Triangle Podcast.
Home of your story, our story, and the
truth. And speaking of the truth, there's been a lot of truth going around.
A whole lot. Listen, first of all, this is how much truth is going on. It's so truthful that this is take 3 of this whole thing, okay? That's how much truth we got to share with y'all.
Yes, indeed. And the truth about today's episode is the coronavirus. Yes, COVID-19. Yes, whatever y'all want to call it.
What'd you say?
The coronavirus.
The corona. Oh, I call it the Roro.
The Rona, whatever you want to call it.
Roll your boat gently down your... Okay, I'm not.
Whatever you want to call it. It has taken over. It is a pandemic, and it is getting crazy. Whoever would have thought growing up, this is only stuff that you really feel like you see on movies.
Yeah, or in the history books.
Or history books. But you never, or the Bible, when the whole plague took out
the bubonic.
Everybody. But you never would have thought that this type of situation would happen in real life, and it's very surreal. But we just want to talk to you guys about, the pros, even though there are several cons, the pros that you can kind of get out of the coronavirus. So, Mike, what have you been doing while the coronavirus has been knocking us down?
So I looked at this whole time as a blessing. It's even on that, like, it was crazy. I guess I kind of spoke it into existence. I was just like, I saw people were not losing their jobs, but laid off. And I was like, yo, if I end up in that situation, first I was like, for anybody that's in this situation, don't look at it as a bad thing. Read, catch up with your family, get closer with your family.
Get closer with yourself.
Yeah, take a course, sharpen your skills so that way you can have, a better chance in your career whenever this does pass. And that at that time, I thought it was just gonna be like 2-3 weeks, right?
Yeah, I know, right? Who would have thought? And even the scary thing about it is, even though we'll get more into that later on, but I think the scariest thing about it is we really don't know when it's going to end. And when it does end by the government standards, it's like, has it really ended?
Right.
I just feel like things will never be as normal as they once were, like ever.
And that's honestly exactly what my father said. He said that, and he said, we need to start recognizing that nothing's gonna go back. There's a lot of things that we've learned from this time that are going to change the way that we live, but there are also things that we should have kind of been doing from the jump, which could have potentially prevented this to begin with. Yeah. But so for me, to your question, I've really been investing in my business. I've been trying to invest in our podcast, sign up some courses. I created, hand sanitizer to try to challenge this entire pandemic for people. To stay home. I created a commercial even.
He did. So if you guys are following us, I know we tag each other all the time when we are on the Triangle Podcast page, but actually take some time to click on Mike's Instagram, or even Chantel Lux Beauty, which we'll tag below on this video, and check out all the cool things that he has. Not only is he based around beauty, but he's also based around health and hygiene, and he has come up with a very good formula for a hand sanitizer, which has a nice scent, it moisturizes, and it sanitizes. So you don't really get too many hand sanitizers that are like that. Of course, you get the Victoria's Secret hand sanitizers, but those are more so smell good than sanitization. But you get just as much.
Have like 60% alcohol content, which is really
that's
high.
not a lot. But how much percentage does yours have?
75.5%.
There you go. So it still sanitizes while moisturizes, and it smells good.
For sure.
I have some. It does the job, and he's been doing really good with the hand sanitizer.
Thank you so much.
So, and it's benefiting you guys at this time. I mean, with this pandemic going on, ridiculous amounts of tissue paper have been sold out, ridiculous amount of hand sanitizers, Lysol, baby wipes, all that have been going sitting. I'm pretty sure people are buying these items and they're just sitting in their houses.
Honestly.
To do what?
Yeah, because you see what happened you see what happened on Amazon. You try to buy something and resell it, and you put your price too high, Amazon will suspend your account permanently.
As they should.
Yeah, they really should.
I really think people should get locked up, because I've heard these people getting loads and loads. Don't quote me verbatim on this, but people have been getting loads and loads of hand sanitizer and selling it for more than what it's worth, like $20 per hand sanitizer.
Like a small, so a guy, I believe he drove to Kansas. And he drove to maybe I don't know what the other state was, but he got like 30,000 bottles of hand sanitizer to sell it all on.
But he got caught, right? So you can't sell it.
And then Amazon was like, nope. eBay said nope. Walmart said nope.
So who gonna buy it? The people around you. If
he lost like $150,000 or something like that.
As he should have.
Yeah.
And that's what you get for being stingy. You're not really trying to be out here and help people.
Exactly.
You're just trying to profit off the people who probably can't even afford that anyway. Exactly. At this point, you might as well just give it out, sir, which I hope you did.
Write that thing off your taxes, buddy.
Exactly. But myself, I've been still working. I mean, some of us are considered essential. I'm considered essential because I do work in apartment communities, so we have to be there for our residents.
That's awesome.
But nothing in my life has really changed. But it took this for me to really zone in on my craft and what I really want to do. A lot of time, we tell ourselves, I'm going to do this day. This is the day. Today's not the day I'm going to do. And it really gave me an opportunity to sit down and be like, look, Jasmine, this is what you need to do.
Right.
And the reason why I did it is because someone reached out to me asking me to interview one of their artists, and it just sprung off from there. I wasn't looking. I wasn't trying to interview artists, but being that, I am a host and a media personality, hostess and a media personality, that kind of opened the segue to start my creative juices moving, because after I did that, I was like, well, who else can I reach out to interview? And after he hit me, another manager hit me and asked me to interview another artist. So I've interviewed Anais, she's a really dope singer, and Mason Parker, he's a really dope rapper, lyricist, poet, actor. They're both really cool people, and on Wednesday I will be interviewing a real estate agent by the name of Nick, who's going to talk about the real estate market right now in this time of COVID, because a lot of things are fluctuating in price.
You always see on posts where people like, let this hit the market so bad that I could buy a 3-bedroom house, 2 bed for $799.
Exactly. So I would say this pandemic has definitely brought a lot of positivity.
Yeah.
I mean, to shine a bright light on things, because we constantly walk into a building, the news is on, or we cut on the TV and they're always talking about how many people have died and how many people are going to die and how many people it has affected now, but we don't really get to see a lot of the positive things that
Which, on the note of
that,
that's a whole fear conversation. And I found for myself 2 things. One, I don't fear death at all. Maybe it's because I joined the military and you kind of have to get over that at some point.
I was about to say, don't they make you kind of like, I've never been in the military, I want to go, but I definitely condone all those who have. So I'm sure that they taught you a lot of life lessons to get through a lot of stuff. It's
not like a direct conversation mostly, but it is something that you recognize. But again, I guess maybe flipping the perspective, I said, well, honestly, it doesn't matter what you do. It's gonna happen. That's the one thing. Even if life isn't guaranteed to you, death is guaranteed to you.
Very much so.
We are not immortal, and having that mindset has really allowed me to try to take advantage. Because on the flip side, even when you go, the people that are still here have to experience that loss. You just go on. There's nothing for you to think about. And so it made me try to take life more seriously, like you said, taking advantage of your craft and things like that, and just getting away from that fear. And one day I just woke up too, during this time, it was by accident, like you. And I was like, people always ask, why you join the military, why you don't stay in, and I did that post, and I just shared it for those who might be in similar shoes or interested in joining or thinking about going on a career path during this time. And it turned into realizing that, like, we're not sharing a lot of positive messages during this time.
We are not.
Like, we're so zoned in on negativity and drama and fear. And it's like, I mean, you know, you don't want to, it can get old a little bit. Like, we're human, right? Like, we need a little bit of up and down. We need that balance. But I haven't been seeing enough balance. You know, it's either, like, extremely impactful or just, like, horrifically negative.
I'm telling you, and it's like the news can report so many things, like so much good has, even though a lot of bad, but I feel like a lot of good has come out of good has come out of coronavirus hitting the earth. But like those things as far as I just lost my train of thought.
That's okay.
I literally had it at the top of my head and could not think about it. I guess acknowledging our healthcare workers even more.
Right. Yeah.
Because, you know, nobody ever expects things like this to happen, but when things like this do happen, we do have people who are considered essential, even more beyond me. I'm not even worried. My job ain't even whatever. But as far as our healthcare workers who are actually seeing these sick people and having to be around these people while still having to go home to their families, or not even being able to go home to their families because they are dealing with these people. They don't want to possibly bring the virus back to them. And it's unfortunate that a lot of these healthcare workers have even taken their own lives because it's been too drastic on them. Figuring out a balance between their work and their home life, because a lot of people, my friend, for example, she had an offer to go to New York and assist because she is a nurse.
I have a friend who, big shout out to her because she did make that sacrifice.
She did go to New York.
To go to New York.
Shout out to her.
Her and her friend. Shout out to my university, Winston, for producing nurses and being one of the top universities to do that. Kayla Cummins, she took that step to go to New York and help in the situation, and her and her friend, they're both nurses and they're travel nurses. It's a little bit of a different. Yeah.
But my friend, she was definitely willing to put her life on the line for it. She was definitely willing to go. But some things, you know, end up being a little bit more important. She has a daughter.
Yeah.
So she didn't really want to make that sacrifice. And we talked through it. I helped her through it, and it was something that it was a hard decision because that's a lot of money that you're leaving on the table. But some things are just a little bit more important. And she didn't really want to be away from her daughter for too long, and I condone her for that. That's a big decision to have to make, but you know, you want to be around.
For sure.
Especially when you have children. So shout out to her again. Shout out to your friend Kayla. And even though my friend did not go to New York, but yours is. It's still just as many sick people around. There's still in these hospitals here in North Carolina. There's still a lot of sick people with coronavirus, and then she's still working diligently and very hard with these people as well. So definitely shout out to the healthcare workers, and I think it's a great thing that different companies and restaurants and stuff are allowing these healthcare workers to get free meals and offering them supplies and donating all this money to them so that they can be protected in this time. So that's
the businesses that have been able to donate money, even they've been fortunate enough to have enough money to be able to donate and give back to smaller businesses that are in need, which again, going to the point of recognizing like how many things we could prevent. He's a funny guy, but he brought up he does this thing where he gets like, he talks out of anger. He's like yelling. It's hilarious.
Who?
He's from New York. His name is like, I don't even know how you say it. It's an Italian name, so I don't know how you say it, but it starts with a V. I'll send it to you after this. And he was just talking about how are you a bank, right? He brought up the statistics and the numbers and saying, you're a bank and you've had like 40 a year, like over the past, let's say 2 or 3 years, you've had both years at like $40 billion profit, not gross profit, not revenue, profit as a business, as a bank. That means after you paid your overhead costs, all of that, all your expenses, you have $40 billion in profit of money you can do whatever you want. How is it that the government and us as taxpayers, our taxpaying dollars have to go back to a bank who had profit for the last 2 years to be able to be bailed out in a situation like this. But somebody like me and you, we may have a credit card or whatever, and the bank is not saying, oh, well, let me stop my payments on you right now during this time, because I know that I have $80 billion of profit over the last 2 years to be able to function and help out. Instead, I need the government to, that's just 2 years. Mm-hmm. If you go back further, they have even more profit that they should have. And so the government not saying, you know, as a bank, you need to take 25% of your profit and put it in this, in this fund that's going to be so that you can function if a pandemic or a situation happens. And when he said that, it made me think about how even as Americans, more of us haven't challenged that, you know, in the collective mindset to say like, hey, as a bank, I need you to do this. Or, hey, as my legislator, I need you to write something that's going to say banks need to do this because I need them to look out for my well-being if I'm paying these tax dollars.
Right.
And when he said it just changed the whole perspective. So shout out to all the businesses. Like I know Dash Realty, they do a weekly giveaway so for businesses to, all they have to do is just get as many votes as they can on their business, and they give them like $1,000.
I think it's dope that businesses outside of like charities and food banks, like clothing businesses. Cardi B partnered with Fashion Nova.
Yo, I
I think I did too, but it did help. It did help me though. But the fact that these celebrities are using their platforms to reach out and give back to those in need, I think that's really dope.
Absolutely.
And continue to do that. And if you're a celebrity and you're not doing it, I definitely encourage you to do it, because it's people like us and Mike who are making sanitizers and stuff and have nowhere near as much money as you have.
Nowhere near.
So I think that you should definitely get the ball rolling on that.
For sure. Because we're not gonna get that.
But yes, just I think the main thing for this whole pandemic is just to really sit down and we always complain about how we don't have enough time to do things. Now is the time, and I even seen something on Instagram saying that even if you were somebody who diligently was working prior to the pandemic and this is nothing new to you, and you just need this time to rest, do that as well. I mean, everybody doesn't have to work so hard. Some of us work hard in general on a daily. Sure. So I think that it's nice for some of you to actually take some time and get a break.
I think that's
so if you need to rest as well, definitely get your rest. Stop forcing yourself to overwork yourself and rejuvenate your body, because if you work yourself to death, that's what it's going to be, to death, and you ain't going to be able to work no more. So take heed to that.
To a point that you made earlier too, right? You talked about us shifting and how after this there's going to be a change, and what we need to probably all start recognizing that. Which like I said, my dad he put that in my mind immediately and said, so you need to start preparing yourself and recognizing, okay, if you're going to have this business, preparing for what is going to come next. So people need to definitely do that, but also recognizing, don't jump the gun. Like Georgia jumped the gun, right?
Definitely.
And you see what happened, 1,000 new cases within 24 hours.
But then it's also like, when they, like, say if this is a stretch, but say if we're on lockdown for a year.
Which is likely.
Give or take, which is very likely. But I just feel like no matter when they tell us it's okay, things will turn out how it did in Atlanta. Like, people are going to be so happy that things are opening up. Everyone's going to be out.
Well, I think it depends on what kind of system we put in place to prepare for that. So, like, the control freak in me looks at it like, okay, when we find a vaccine, which they say is going to be 12 to 18 months, so realistically speaking, and for those people that are like the flu this and the flu that, please keep in mind that the flu has preventative measures. This virus, which really actually, I don't want to scare people, but it's actually a disease. Okay, it's just like what you got HIV and then you got AIDS. It's not that simple how viruses become diseases. Really look into that information so you can understand what we're actually up against, because this is actually SARS 2.0 per se, which is like, I think it's SARS coronavirus disease. So we really need to like be mindful of those things too. You know, you got the thing going on with Trump trying to pull funding from who, you know, because of not informing, I guess, the masses enough about this disease or diseases in general. And there's a lot of factors that go into play, but we really need to look at like the fact that we don't have preventative measures for this right now. So in my mind, if we get to 12 to 18 months and there is a vaccine, and let's assume that it actually works, because vaccines and viruses, if they don't work, they can help mutate the virus as well, and then it becomes worse. So, which is what happened with polio recently in Nigeria. But that's a whole other thing. But so I think that's something that we need to recognize is like what you said. The control freak in me says when we do come up with a vaccine, we move forward. Okay, everybody has to get tested to see what their body is like. We don't just let people out free. And then on top of that, giving them this vaccination so that way when we do interact, we can mitigate and control the circumstance. But we need to understand how this vaccine is going to affect people. We need to understand how people having the vaccine with new germs and all of these things is going to create potentially new viruses or new disease. Like there's a lot that goes into place with something like this.
It's the fear of the unknown, and that's what's scary. Like we don't know when things are going to go back to how they are. Things will probably never, I'm almost certain, go back to how they used to be.
For sure.
So it's just a huge thing of we don't know.
We don't.
No one knows anything, and it's crazy because just
and if they do, y'all messed up for not putting more information out for real.
I do think that there's a lot of things that the government isn't telling us, but that's neither here nor there. That's with any situation. I feel like they just keep a lot of things to themselves.
Because of fear. like what you said. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But it's even down to the little thing. And I what I don't, and I'm just relating this to my job. If you're fortunate enough, and this is just a disclaimer, please try not to complain. Like if you're still working, if you're still able to put food on the table, if you're still getting a check, if you're still able to live your life or may have had to minimalize it a little bit, still be grateful that you have a roof over your head. Still be grateful that you can still pay your bills, because it's people out here who have been laid off. It's people out here who have to file for unemployment. It's people out here that wasn't working prior to it, and now we're in this pandemic, and they've been looking for a job, and they probably can't get one still. So let's keep the complaining down to a minimum if we are, grateful enough to still function. Because there's people out here who can't and aren't complaining at all. Yeah. So let's just keep that.
A lot more people than is really being talked about. You know, people got that $1,200, right? And there are some people who, when you're a single mother, let's say, you got 4 kids, they're in college, but the kids is not old enough to file taxes on their own so that they can get the $1,200 because they're in that age gap of like from maybe 18 to 24, whatever age it is.
But if their parent is filing them, then they get an additional.
No.
Yeah.
No. The
parent does get an additional. It depends on how many kids you have.
No. It's how does it work? If you're 17 to 24, you're not in the age group for your parent to even get the $500.
Okay, so they cap it at 17.
I think it's 17. And then and definitely correct us if we're wrong, but I know it's a twofold L basically, because the child can't file and the parent can't get $500, and then they go home now because they was in college, let's say, and there's no because the mother might just be making ends meet in the house for herself. She hadn't had to prepare for her children that might come back home because they can't be in school anymore.
And that's another thing. While we're on the subject of school. And the whole stimulus check thing, people aren't able to graduate. The thing that you look forward to the most, high school graduation, college graduation, these are milestones. And yes, you're getting your degree in the mail, but there's nothing like being in that stadium. Thank God I was able to experience, and Mike was able to experience that feeling. There's no feeling better in the world than when you put all your hard work into those 4, 5, 6 years, however many years it took you, and walking across that stage and hearing your family and stuff yell for you, and you not being able to get that, it really breaks my heart that you can't experience that because you put your heart and your hard work into that, and it just sucks.
It's just thrown to the wayside.
It's like, yeah, okay, here's your diploma, cool. And even if they go virtual, like I know they were talking about doing like a virtual ceremony or like a virtual walk to where they have like robots or so. I've seen it. I don't know how true this is, but have robots with your face on it, and they'll. That's not the same. It's a ceremony, but it's not the same.
Like having some.
It's not the same. So, congratulations to those who are graduating this year, and from middle school, high school, college,
whatever.
If you're in graduate school, whatever you're graduating from, congratulations to you. Your hard work does not go unnoticed, and you definitely deserve it.
You bring that up, and going back to that military, like I hadn't even thought about those people that are in basic training in the AIT. Like when they graduate, their family can't even see them.
That's
do
true.
That. Or if you're deployed,
I remember going to see my brother.
Yeah, if you're deployed, like I wonder how they're able to, at the end of their deployment, come back home, or like stuff like that. Like how I hadn't even considered what any of that even looks like.
Well, from what I know, they're still doing basic trainings and stuff.
Yeah.
But as far as like you said, their graduation, I don't think they're letting people come, obviously, because you can't have that many people in one arena. But hopefully, I know North Carolina is under phases, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. So hopefully we'll get to phase 3 soon and be able to get out of this thing. But we just want to encourage people to, continue to stay positive.
Please. If you're a positive person already, if you go to church, if you do anything like that, like do not say in your mind, well, things are just going to go back to the way they've always been, this normal thing, in the negative sense of like, now nobody's going to care anymore after this. They're just going to go back to not washing their hands and all of these different things. Like no businesses are not going to try to help people anymore. They're just going to go back to being capitalistic and selfish. Like if you're a positive person, put out that positive messaging in the world to say, here's what we can do to carry on the good things we've learned from this time. Like Jazz and I are doing right now. There are so many other positive people that have platforms that can start these movements to create the new norms that we can all adjust to going forward, because this isn't going to last for forever, even though we don't know. And I'm sorry to anybody who's lost a family member during this time, because this is a twofold situation where you might have somebody who's sick, and because COVID is requiring so much attention, that your sick family member can't get the attention they need, and they're passing. And I'm sorry that's happening. I'm sorry for anything that is just bringing.
You're not able to have funerals.
Oh yeah,
because that's been a thing too.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know if that's a blessing or a curse not to be able to have funerals. You want to celebrate their life the best way you know how. And people aren't able to do that. If you're used to having funerals in your family, some people just do cremations and it's whatever to them. But for those who look forward to celebrating a life and doing that, and even if it was in their wishes and they can't do it, some people put in their will, I want to be cremated, I want to have this, I want to have that, and you can't live up to what their last words were, what their wishes were. It kind of sucks as well. So shout out to all the families who are having to go, not necessarily shout out, but our condolences, I should say, to those, I like that. Yeah, good to those families who have experienced deaths and aren't able to do much about it.
Absolutely. Stay positive, y'all.
Please.
Don't quit.
Keep it going. Keep positive vibes. Stay sanitized. Wear your mask if you need to. Just if everyone does what they need to do, I feel like we can get to the finish line a little bit faster.
And I guess maybe we should ask, for anybody, if you do need a mask, maybe
let us know.
Yeah, let us know, and maybe we can try to figure something out to help getting masks out to people as well.
We know a few people who make masks, so we can reach out to them, and y'all just let us know who's in need of a bulk or something, and we'll figure it out. But y'all just let us know.
Absolutely.
We'll get the supplies to you. Need hand sanitizer?
I got you.
We got that. We already know where you get that from. We get that from Mike. But if you need masks and gloves, everything, just let us know. We'll definitely figure out a way to help you guys out.
Self-love, self-expression.
Yep. Peace. If you would like to see more of us,
please click the link in our bio or visit our YouTube channel.